What's up, Topeka? Welcome to the I'm from Topeka podcast, broadcasting straight from We're here to bring you the people, the stories, and the pulse of Topeka. Whether you're a longtime resident or just curious about what makes the city tick, we've got you covered. And sitting across from me today is...
What's going on? I'm Mike G, local independent artist, Topeka native. It's about the people, baby. Just like the song says in Tevin. Where are we and who we sitting with today?
Man, we're sitting in probably, I don't know, we said the comfortable podcast. We're probably sitting in the most comfortable podcast that we've had so far.
Take that, Jake Schooler.
Yeah, exactly. Take that.
We love you, Jake, but man, it's comfy in here.
And they got AC in here, dog.
Yeah.
It's super comfy. But we're sitting in the Drippe Dream Home with Miss Brandi Whisler. She is the director of sales and design. And I just want to give the proper introduction because Brandi has been, y'all know I come from fitness. So Brandi has been my favorite client that I've ever had. So she also gets that title as well.
on, Brandi,
so let's go. But welcome in, Brandi. Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. This is exciting.
Yeah,
it is.
It's beautiful. Just to let you know, like you gave us a tour, in which y'all see a tour. If you're watching on YouTube, we're gonna do a little mini tour after this. But it is absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Yeah, like
It's so nice.
The way that you have everything laid out, like when we walked in, like we seen the wall to the left, but then like we were going through and she was like, yeah, y'all walked past the office. And we're like, where's the office? And she like pushed the wall open. We were just like,
this is a future house right here. This is for the future, man.
It is
Nice.
And then the cabinet, like where we walked into the cabinet, the
There's
pantry.
like two kitchens.
Yeah,
like,
it's mind-boggling. The refrigerator, like it's crazy. So you did a great job, but tell a little bit people about like who you are and kind of what you do.
So I work for Drippe Homes. We are a local home builder. We build everywhere from Salina to Lee Summit, anywhere off of I-70, basically 60 miles in either direction. So we have a really large area. Our biggest areas that we do really is kind of Topeka, Lawrence, kind of Manhattan. That's kind of where we built our bread and butter. And so we've recently started expanding out to some other territories, into a lot in the KC Metro, Olathe, Spring Hill, Gardner, some of those areas. And then, we decided to make the jump and do some stuff in Missouri too. So we're kind of all over the place.
spreading out.
Yep. Yeah. And we do mainly, we do a good mix of actually like full custom home builds where someone comes up with their own plan and we're helping them facilitate, designing a floor plan, and then all of their selections. But we also do a lot of what we call speculative work. And that's where we take some of our main floor plans and, put in finishes in a certain market that, are very popular, but get a good price point so we can sell it on the market once it's finished.
Nice. Yeah. No, I
lot
mean,
of work.
that's a lot of work. Yeah. That is a lot.
Yeah.
What made you like really get into like designing and like got you to the position where you're at right now?
So I initially went to college to get my accounting degree. My mom was an accountant. And so numbers come very easy to me. I always kind of like crunching numbers. And then I was so bored in college. I was like, oh, this is terrible. I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So at that time, I loved watching Bob Vila, loved watching him. So then I thought, well, I'll just take some classes in like wedding planning or interior design. So kind of just took an elective in design and absolutely loved it and just decided for a while, I was double majoring in accounting and design and decided to just focus on the design side of things. I went to Pittsburgh State. After there, I started working for a furniture store and was doing sales for them. After that, I started merchandising model homes for large builders all across the country. And so did that for several years. Then met my husband and moved to Topeka. And worked at Carpet One here in Topeka. I got hired on as a designer there. That's how I know Jake.
Yeah.
So I'm not just razzing him for no reason.
There you go.
Jake's a good friend of mine. We worked together for many years.
Yeah.
From that, I was working on the Drippe account. And one day Mike Drippe said, well, I'm sending everyone in to you and you're helping them pick out their flooring, but you're also helping with paint colors and cabinet colors and countertops and floor plan stuff, like I think it's probably time that I hire you full time.
Ooh.
So then left on great terms with Carpet One because Drippe's a large account with them. So left on great terms with Dale and everyone over there, and have been at Drippe Homes ever since. I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary with Drippe.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
huge.
And then from being at Drippe, when I first started, we only did probably 60 or 70 homes that first year that I started. And then especially with COVID and everything, things went crazy and we became, really busy. So then I was able to build a staff under me with in-house drafters, some other designers, a cabinet designer. And so I just kind of worked my way up with Drippe. I'm a really hard worker and they really, really appreciate people that are hard workers. And so it was just kind of a natural progression and to where I am. And so, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's an amazing
Story,
journey
yeah,
though,
it is.
because I mean, like you said, you worked your way up. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize that it's not going to just jump from now to where you really want to be, and like that opportunity come where he came in and he, was like, hey, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's just come with us now.
Yeah. Well, and
but-
I will say, like, I've always been not just like a really hard worker and a go-getter, but very honest and very ethical in how I
Important.
work.
So important.
And so, yeah, I honestly think that even if I didn't have an interior design degree and I just had that skill set and, I think to get along a long ways in your career in a shorter period of time, like just being hardworking and honest is a huge thing. Like
Two
I'm the
huge
first
qualities,
person that if I messed up, I'm like, oh, I effed up.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
Absolutely. And that's important. I mean, I'm gonna go back to when you said hardworking because when I first met you, Jessica and I were at Fit Body Boot Camp and we did a challenge there.
yeah.
We helped open up the challenge. And then the challenge was like, do however many push-ups, do however many squats, do however many sit-ups. And like it was the final day that you came in to do your challenge. Like you started off strong and then it was like 6 weeks later you did your challenge again. And she literally did like, how many sit-ups did you do?
300, I think.
300. I mean, just literally just at it the whole time.
Well, that
I mean,
wasn't very fair because I actually sandbagged the sit-up part to begin with, and that competition was based on like how many more you can do than the beginning. But like I was bored
That's
in the
a lot
beginning
of
and stopped at
sit-ups.
like 100, but I knew everyone, like I had to beat Katie, my sister-in-law, and I knew she stopped at like 95 or something like that.
You were
so I'm
keeping
like,
count,
I just
huh?
got to
You're
get
like,
to
okay,
100,
watch.
right? So then
Yep.
at the end, I think she might have done like 200 or something, or it was quite a bit. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to beat that. And I just kept going. And they were the full body sit-ups. So I was like moving along the whole gym like a worm.
The
like
real
I just kept
sit-ups,
like
yeah.
scooting and scooting. And I did them for so long. I think I did them through half of the following class.
you
or
did.
Something.
That's what I was gonna say. Like we had the class coming up next, and then we're like, oh, okay, y'all just watch out for Brandi because she's inching around the floor
Dang.
here.
Hey,
There was
that's
like
awesome,
a
though.
trail through the through the
so
floor.
funny.
It was really
Man.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's all like, just me. I just
But
have
hard
to
worker,
beat everyone.
though.
Hard worker,
Like,
but more like if I know you, I have to beat
Look,
you.
yeah, the competition, like,
That
and so that was the hard part because like we left Fit Body, Jess and I left Fit Body, we opened up our own company. Well, then we moved to Texas, and then we moved back from Texas when we had Hezekiah and had COVID was going on and stuff. But Brandi immediately hit me up and was like, "Hey, are you doing any training?" And she's seen some training and stuff like that I've been doing, and my training is not always the easiest, and Brandi, I would always try to break her. Like every single time, like we did a workout because we didn't have a place, so we were training in the middle of like July, August at Jardine.
Yeah, I remember seeing it was at the van when you were
with the
taking.
van.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Oh man, I would have her do crazy stuff like take this 15-pound medicine ball and broad jump up this hill,
That was
and then you got 10
horrible.
burpees at the top. You have 5
horrible.
rounds of that. Like,
That's real
But
workouts, though.
Tevin also knows,
Sheesh.
like, to me, it doesn't feel like a real workout unless I'm pushed, like, almost to the point of throwing up.
Yeah,
like, that's
it
what
was.
I want. I want to be drenched
I'm the
in
same
sweat.
though. It's like otherwise I just feel like I shorted myself.
Yes.
It's like I don't feel. I feel like I quite gave it my all. So
Yeah.
that's. I remember seeing a few of the workouts. I seen him taking me on. I was like, yo, I know they're feeling that.
bad.
Yeah.
Because that's real though. You going up real like outdoor workouts. That's like I'm coming back to that. Like we kind of talked before we started. This is like I'm really starting to come back to not being comfortable in the AC, but like man, okay, let's get out. And if I got to throw up, there's plenty of places right outdoors. You know what I mean, instead of having to run in the gym somewhere. Like so I get that.
I remember one time I went to get gas right after this workout, and this guy was like, what happened to you? Did you, jump in the pool or something with all your clothes on? I was like, no, I just got done working out outside. It was like 105 that day.
It was crazy. And then even like when it was like, because you know how it's super hot and then it gets like real humid, then it storms real quick. There's been plenty of times we were out there where it'll be super hot, then all of a sudden a storm blows in and it's just pouring rain and Brandy's just still out there. We're just still out there getting it. Like,
shoot,
I would love it when it would rain because I'm like, oh, that feels so
it's
good.
Like, a little bit of like, thank you guys, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So, well, when you talked about, because we've talked to quite a few people at this point, and I always like to kind of bring this part up. Everybody had like a lot of positives and a lot of pivots during COVID, including me, including Tev. And it sounds like you, which I love to hear, that is something I read in a book recently, is like when you're really working hard and you're continuing to push, and you don't start out with people around you, like people will start to like see that and then be like, hey, and they'll come alongside you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, is they try to find like a team too much and too fast sometimes, instead of like, let my work speak, you know, and that's it's a hard thing sometimes, but you had people start to see that and then come alongside you, and that's just important to me.
Well, first of all, during COVID, everyone in the building industry was loving life. I mean, that was like the best for us, right?
Definitely.
So like for us, we went from a year, I think the year before COVID, we had like 90 some homes to like quickly within a year and a half up to 140 homes a year. Like it was insane. But the interest rates were so low. People were getting the extra stimulus money, so they had more money to kind of spend. And people were really making smart investment opportunities because they were seeing, okay, even though the cost to build is a little bit more, I've got this extra money from stimulus right now. Interest rates are low. So it just went like gangbusters. Like for us, we were like, oh, we wish that we would have known this was coming, because we would have put so many different systems in place, and we would have like been raking it in. Like, I mean, we were going so fast that, you know, it was just, a lot of it felt like survival, but business was so good for us during that time. I mean, it was when it felt almost like you felt bad to be doing so well, because there were so many people that were temporarily out of work and things like that. But, you know, we were just so busy.
Oh, yeah. It did that for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
It was honestly like, even though like, I mean, it kind of put us like, I'll probably say I'm still recovering from COVID, because it's like, it was such a switch, like becoming a new father, you know, moving back home. Like we had just moved to Texas. We had just got married, and then we're expecting a son that we didn't know Jess was pregnant until she was 6 months pregnant. So it was just a whole bunch, like trying to run a business. But I look back on it, even through all that struggle and stuff, it was honestly, I feel like it was a good time to like, if I was doing like what I'm doing now and we had that time to just like chill out, like, you know, the world shut down, like I would enjoy it again. Like,
you like couldn't enjoy it during that time. Like you really couldn't, because you had, like you said, you had just gotten married. You had Hezzy, a month before it started?
Like literally, he was born February 9th, and then everything shut down
in March. So like a month and a half before it happened. So then you know, you worked at a gym, and it's like all that stuff shut down. So you were like in freak out survival.
Yeah, and I just got a permanent, because obviously when I was down in Texas, like I wasn't at the point to just train full time yet, but I was getting there. And then I was like, okay, let me just take the rest of the year. I was going to take a permanent sub job as a PE teacher, and then I could sub, and then I was going to move into like train the teachers and stuff. I was the only male in the building, so all my clientele would have been female staff, you know, the teachers and stuff that wanted to work out. They just didn't have the time. And so I had just accepted the position. We did a half day at school, and we went back for training, and then they let us out of training, and then Friday we got a text, and it was like, hey, yeah, we're just going to extend spring break 2 extra weeks because all this stuff is going on.
Turns out it was like 9 months.
And it just kept going.
Never been so sick of my kids in my life. I'm like, pay the teachers whatever they want. Every elementary school teacher should get paid $100,000 because I will pay extra just to have someone else teach my children.
Yeah, I really felt that was such an impactful thing. And I was finishing school during that time. I was going to Full Sail Online University to get my audio engineering degree. And I was like, taking breaks. I took a month off here, then took a month off there. And I was just like, man, like what? I was feeling like everybody.
Yeah.
Like, where is the world going? Like, I'm a creative, so it was really weighing in on me, and it just kind of. But I'm thankful because I look at it now and I'm like, I don't know if I would have taken the same amount of time to really like hone in and focus.
Yeah.
And the fact that I did got me definitely to where I'm at now. So it was a weird time, and we're all still recovering ways. I am too. It's just
I will say the thing that I enjoyed the most, which is so selfish because it put a lot of people probably out of business. I actually, for me and my family, I enjoyed that like 2-week lockdown that they had, you know, because it like forced us, okay, we always walked parks and things like that, but it forced us like every day to go out and do it. It was really cool seeing everyone out in the streets walking.
Like family back together.
Everyone, was out doing that. And I remember my daughter at the time, she was 8 or 9 and still had not learned how to ride a bike yet. But that 2-week lockdown, every day it was like, okay, we're going to go to the park and you're going to work on riding your bike. And, you know, if it wasn't for that, I mean, she might still be struggling. But it forced us to do those things.
But no, that like, it was a good, like, that's what, like, I would, like, if we had that now, like, I would be like a little bit of peace, you know, but also, I mean, there's still that anxiety and that worry.
It's so hard because it affects so many different, I felt horrible for parents whose kids weren't in school and they couldn't afford childcare. Like that would be devastating. And then you hear on the news like, oh, CPS got called because this woman left her 5-year-old with their 13-year-old or something. And it's like, what are they supposed to do?
Like that's like it was a hard time for sure. So
definitely,
as much as like we like the luxury of like what we were able to do and stuff like that, it was still a hard time.
It was tough. It mentally affected everybody, definitely. So
But so with all that though, what was your biggest like takeaway after going back to work? Like when everything got back up and, you know, going, like you said y'all were doing so good, did it slow things down or did it keep going?
I never stopped working. I've always worked remotely. We've had a model home here in Topeka for a few years, but at that time I was already working remotely and I was just coming in for in-person meetings with people. So for us, since, you know, Carpet One maybe closed down for 4 weeks, maybe, I think it was more like 3 weeks, we could still, you know, schedule appointments out a few weeks, like, hey, let's tentatively schedule this appointment for whenever people open up. But we could still do virtual meetings to pick out stuff and all of that stuff. So I never stopped working, which actually this is so terrible, but I actually got jealous of people that like
that didn't have to go to work.
Or that got to work from home, which I was like jealous that they had that fun switch because that was always my normal. So, but yeah, we did not stop at all. We could still bid. Our subs could still, you know, because a lot of they could even continue construction. I mean, there was a period of time where they weren't allowed to, but everything for us kept moving. So we were very, very blessed. And again, for us as a business, it really kind of grew our volume. Now, after COVID, when interest rates started going up, it did get a little scary in the building industry. And I'm sure it did for every builder, because at this point, we've built our staff up to, you know, be able to accommodate 140 homes because we had to do that. And then interest rates started going and we had all this spec product on the market and it wasn't selling and we were losing money on stuff. So there was a couple period of times that, you know, it got scary and we had to, you know, do layoffs and, you know, things like that or temporary cutbacks. But thankfully, our company is always very good about, doing absolutely everything we can to not have to lay anyone off. So we used it as an opportunity to get more into the remodeling, and now we do pools and things like that. So we used it as a time to expand our brand into different revenue streams, insurance work and things like that, because people are always going to have flooding or house fires or things like that. So we kind of used it as an opportunity to expand.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's crazy because we found a house like during that time where like our landlord passed away. Rest in peace, Jim. He was such a great guy, and his lady at the time, they both did, and so it was just an unexpected. We had to move out and we had to move in with our parents, and it was rough. But again, like I'm thankful we got in before the interest rates and all that got worse because it's still kind of going up. It seems.
Yeah, I literally signed on my house that I live in now up north the last week before, like when it was like the lowest before it started going up. So we got incredibly lucky with it.
That's the house you're in now. Yeah, I remember that. I was like, Brandi. She got it.
Locked in. Yeah.
She got a good one. But with that, so during COVID or when we moved back, I was working for my aunt and uncle, Frontier Concrete and Construction, and we were doing
Scott.
Scott, Uncle Scott, man. Shout out to Uncle Scott, Frontier Concrete and Construction.
Shout out Scott.
But
Scott, I want you to start bidding stuff for me again.
There. Oh, look, see, look,
Hit
get it,
Brandi
make
up,
it
let's go.
happen, make it happen.
You heard it here.
But yeah, so I was working for them, and we were doing some slab or something, some work for Mike Drippe.
Yeah, in Manhattan, I think you were.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, we just did this work, and then I think I trained you like later on that day. And you're like, that's who I work for, and I was like, oh, like it's such a small world though, but it's really cool to see like the whole process of like how the house is built, because that did help me understand like slab work or concrete work or like basement work and things like that. So it's very huge.
That's hard work too.
It
Any
is.
concrete work ain't no joke at all.
It's
Not a job
tough.
I would want to do.
No.
Me either.
And I work out all the time, so
Yeah.
like,
It's a different work.
Yeah.
It's
get
different.
dogged. I would
Yeah.
get dogged.
I was door dashing. Thank God, like that worked out. So that was another blessing. Like, so I was like, I gotta find something. Like, while I'm going to school, everything else is weird. So I started door dashing. I was making a good amount of money because
Right.
everybody, everyone was fear stricken during that time, understandably so. And a lot of people were just at home, staying home. And I was like, I'm gonna throw a mask on, take 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, and go get this food to the city. So, but it was cool. Like it got us by, got me by. My wife, thankfully, was able to work from home and stuff like that. So yeah, it was
good.
But,
What is your so you moved here to Topeka when you met your husband?
Correct.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Gardner, Kansas, which is south of Kansas City.
little town.
Yeah. Not anymore. It used to be
I
really
was gonna
little.
say it's big
expanded?
now.
When I was born, it was like maybe 4,000 people. Like when I was in high school, it was like maybe 10. Now it's like 30-some thousand. It's
how
gone
many were
crazy.
in your graduating class?
We had the largest one at that time. I want to say we were like 220.
Oh, okay. So I was talking to somebody that came from Texas. Like we happened to be at For the Culture this weekend, and they're from the same part of Texas. And I was like, "What was it like when you moved up here?" And she was like, "A culture shock."
Oh, yeah.
I was like, absolutely, because like you talk to people and they're like, yeah, I have like 10 in my class. Like,
I know.
and it's just mind boggling.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Then I've talked to people, they're like, I had 1,000 in my class. I was like, how
That's how
long
it
was
was.
that graduation
In
ceremony?
Texas,
Like,
that's how
did
it
they
was.
split it up?
Yeah,
A through D go on Sunday?
It was
or what?
long. It was long. I went back for my high school graduating class because I have friends that are still there. And it was like a 2 to 3 hour class, and it was long, but it was it's a culture shock for sure. But okay, when you moved to Topeka coming from Gardner, what was that like? How was that transition?
I loved it. Like, so growing up in like Johnson County, I just think I was always told that like Topeka's white trash. Honestly.
Yeah.
I was always told it's like, sketchy white trash. So when I moved here, or at least when I met my husband and we were dating and I was spending a lot of time here, I was shocked because I'm like, I love this place.
Yeah.
It depends on who you talk to.
Well, and now especially like
coming from Johnson County though, that's
you would like. I hate traffic. So that's probably like
That makes
the
sense.
number one thing. I'm like, no traffic, except for now I live up north. So I hit traffic on 75
you
going
get
to work
that.
and from work. That part's terrible. But, there were, when I first moved here, there wasn't as much as far as like good places to eat and as much shopping as they have now. But like in the last, 15 years since I've been here, it's this place is incredible.
It's
like if
coming
I
up.
look at like pros and cons from Topeka to like Overland Park or Kansas City, in my mind personally, Topeka wins out every time. Plus, like no one judges. Like I can go to the grocery store, like basically in my pajamas and not feel like
you can just be
anyone's
comfortable.
judging me.
Yeah.
You do that in where I grew up, and you're like, I'm
Yeah,
wearing
you're like that.
sunglasses and a
Right.
hat. Like I don't want
Right.
anyone to know who I am.
They're judging hard. But
Yeah,
see,
so-
like you touched it though. There's negatives and positives to every city. Like and once you get to that place, you meet people and you're like, you know what? Like this is not because like again, it depends on who you talk to. It really does. Some people just have a negative. They could be on the beach and be like, the sand hurts my feet.
Yeah.
Like it's too hot today.
Yeah.
It's like go in the water.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, it's funny because, in Kansas City, I think people are just like, gosh, your house is going to get broken into if you live in Topeka or something. And they don't realize like it's just like Kansas City. Like you have this really desirable area of town that's next to, a lower income area of town. And sometimes that, that those things just kind of happen. Like I lived in Waldo for a while and everyone's like, oh, Waldo's the best place ever, which it was really cool.
Yeah.
But like my neighbor had someone break into his house while he was sleeping in the basement. I've never had anything like that happen at Topeka.
Yeah,
so it's just, I just think people don't give it a chance to understand and they just are like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think people just need to spend time at a place like this and see.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Unfortunate things happen everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like if you're getting around and you're in that like that negative mindset, that negative lifestyle, then of course that's what's going to come to you, you know? But if you're in a, you surround yourself with positive people and stuff like that, unfortunate things can happen.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of that happening is lower.
And if it does happen, maybe you're just not bothered by it as much.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
you just have a different mindset about it would be my guess.
That's very true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Very,
That's
very
important.
true. Yeah. So speaking of all that, like, living in, up north and stuff like that and the house, what house are we in right now? I mentioned it earlier.
Okay, so this is the St. Jude Dream Home.
Okay.
So St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is a program that we support as much as we can. And it's a really, really great, thing to support. Basically, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital was started in it was 1962, I think, by Danny Thomas. So Danny Thomas, like when I first heard that name, like kind of sounded familiar. Like we don't necessarily know who Danny Thomas is, but your grandparents for sure know because he was very popular. He had his own show and everything back then. Well, before he became really popular, he had kind of made a vow to start something in the name of St. Jude, who I think that he was like the saint for maybe like children without a voice or something like that. I should know that for sure. I should have researched that before I spewed that out.
It's okay.
But anyway, in 1960s, when he started that, the childhood cancer survival rate was like 80% did not survive. Only 20% survived, right? And now in 2024, those numbers, because of St. Jude, have flipped 100%. So now survival rate's 80%, and not surviving is 20%. So, and then even more than that, there's like a very common form of cancer that they treat. It's like the most common childhood cancer that you can have. That survival rate, I think, is like 96 or 97%.
Oh, wow.
So the cool thing about St. Jude is they not only treat everyone at their hospital, they don't research every type of cancer either. So if your child would, God forbid, have cancer, it's not like they can automatically go to St. Jude. They have to have a certain type, and they do research several. And then if your child goes there, the donations from stuff like this house and everything, it goes to paying for 100% of your kid's cancer treatment. So like if I had a child that went there, not only would their cancer treatment be covered 100%, but if I had to go stay in Memphis, let's say for 3 months while she did a cancer treatment, my housing, food, travel, everything for myself and up to a family of total of 4. So myself, another sibling, and my husband, all of that's paid for 100%. Wow. And so it's just amazing. Like anyone that can get into that, it's just, they just try so hard to make sure, like, obviously this is the most stressful part like of your life and it's very emotional. Let's take every bit of stress that we possibly can away from you so you can just focus on your child. And they do really fun things with the kids. Like the kids that are in there, obviously they're, uncomfortable and they're feeling sick, but they have so many fun things that they do that kids like get excited to go back, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And they also share all of their information freely with doctors all over the world, whether they're part of that St. Jude organization or not. So I always say, like, when you donate and buy a $100 ticket to the Dream Home, or if you donate directly to St. Jude, like, you're literally saving kids all over the world.
That's so
like
important.
in every nook and
Yeah.
cranny of the world, like they help save kids. It's just an incredible organization.
You could get this amazing house, and if not, you know, you played a role in that very incredible thing going on there.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And I always say too that like this year we only sold 7,000 tickets, and you know, we are kind of talking this house you could probably sell it for like $475, $500. By the time you pay your taxes, you're probably netting $300,000 if you decided to sell it and not live in it.
Yeah.
But if they only sell 7,000 tickets, that's your best opportunity to win something that you can take home $300,000 outside of it.
Yeah.
So
$100. I mean, one ticket could land you,
Absolutely.
Change your life.
It could change
even if it
your
don't
life.
change yours, you're helping change someone else's. So
Exactly.
And what's
really
not
cool.
normal, most of the time, people so they do these campaigns in different states and different cities. And I want to say they have 46 or 50 campaigns this year. A lot of the times, the winner is not from that area. Like they have people that will buy tickets in different areas, but Topeka, I can't think of a single year. This is our 7th year. I can't think of a single year that someone fairly local has not won it. So that's cool. Like Lawrence was the farthest one, I think, of people that for the houses that we've built have been. So Lawrence is still very local to Topeka.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
like I said, this house is so beautiful. Like it is amazing. It is well put together. The interior design of it is
Thank you.
beautiful as
So
well.
you and your team and you were the main ones that like went ahead and designed that. Yeah, you guys.
So
did
what
an
we do
incredible
is,
job.
first of all, every house that we do recently, we used to use our standard floor plans and kind of adjust them, but the last few years we've came up with a fresh floor plan and we name it after a St. Jude patient. So this is the Ava floor plan. It's named after a St. Jude patient named Ava. And, we, from scratch, we start thinking about, okay, I have to design is very emotional for me. So I have to come up with a person in my head of who might be living here. So I have to think about what is that, how do they function? Do they have kids? Do they have grandkids? Do they have pets? Like I have to think about those things to like actually design a floor plan. But once I get that person in my mind, then I send off to our drafters and say, this year Anderson Knight did this house for us. And so I was working with the architect there and just, I just send her boxes and I'm like, okay, I want the master suite here and I want the living room here and the dining room. This cow, I kind of want this kitchen set back. And, I think this is going to be like 2,000 square feet. And that's kind of where I want to, have it come in at. She's like, it's 2,600 square feet. I'm like,
good try.
Okay.
hold on.
So clearly my dimensioning skills are a little off. So then we just work to get it right back to the square footage that we need it and have all the features that we want to have. And then from there, it's just, again, when I start that process, I already have like the design in my head.
Yeah.
And so a lot of how we design the house goes off of kind of what I'm thinking for the overall design. So I wanted this one to be a little bit more Art Deco, be mainly like light walls, but have some really fun pops of like dark greens and some moody colors. And so, we did some arched openings to kind of go into that. We did more of a modern exterior to kind of go with some of the Art Deco interior stuff. And, we are so lucky that they have amazing national sponsors like Shaw Floors donates 100% of the flooring, and all the tile and everything. So, and they don't really give a lot of limits. So you can pick whatever you want from there.
I love this floor
And,
too.
oh yeah, it's sweet. And then, Bosch, they donate 100% of the appliances. And normally they do give a limit, but every year I've like blown that limit. I'm like, can I please have, I know you said we can't do a panel ready fridge, but can I please? And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
So, Kitchler donates all the lights. Train does HVAC and, several other great national sponsors, but then we have great local sponsors too. So, and even if, they don't donate the material, they help us coordinate. Like we have a lighting supplier, ES Lighting in Lawrence. They helped receive all the stuff from Kitchler, place the orders, track it down, all that stuff. Carpet One always, holds all the flooring for us, but they also do the window treatments, Skilled Saws, which is also part of Denali Homes up north. They do all of the install of the flooring. We have Artisan Tile that does all the tile install, and then just like a million other people that help.
A lot of hands involved.
It is. And a lot of people donate like 100%. Like Skilled Saws has done it every single year. So this is our 7th year. This is our 5th year that Drippe Homes did it. We did the very first year in 2018. And then we took a break. Mark Bowling did it in 2019, 2020. And then we picked it up in 2021 and have done every one. So the only subcontractor, I think, that has been involved every single year is Skilled Saws. And they've always donated 100% of their labor. Sardo has been, and probably Custom Woods. I think that they've probably been involved too. Sardo has done most of them. They do all of our countertops. Beautiful. Again, like they'll be like, Brandi, try to keep it to like these 3 styles, but they let me do whatever. Custom Woods does so much for us every year. I feel bad because I'm like, okay, I have like 2 kitchens again, and I have a lot of, and now I want this other thing in the office. And also, can you do my closet systems for me, because they own Polito, and it's a closet organization system. So we just have really awesome local suppliers that are just all in to support it.
And it comes together so nice.
It really, it pops in
the
here.
office. And like, okay, now what's your favorite part about this house?
The primary closet, because it has a laundry room.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it's the laundry for me.
Sweet. Like the whole, I love, we did really, really dark green, almost black walls in there, which I have a lot of people get scared to do that. So I really wanted to show that. I love that wall color. I love the whole bathroom. The shower's awesome. All of the floor tile. But the primary closet has that washer and dryer, and I'm like, I really want that.
Yeah,
I really do.
It is so nice. The storage too, like the shelving, all that. It's
that's
like,
a cute. You got plenty of wardrobes. For sure. So it'd be like 10 shirts and 10 pairs of jeans, and it'd be the rest of my wife's clothes and shit. It'd be it. So you mentioned that, like, I wonder with all of this, like, there's so many people involved. Like, what would be, like, what's something that challenges you as far as like with design? Like, is there something that you repetitively maybe run into?
Okay,
like, that's
so
a big challenge
I
for you?
always try to. My biggest thing with this is I used to be try to be so safe, and try to be like, okay, kind of keep it within our normal Drippe product. But then after a couple of years, I just got a little bit riskier and was like, it's going to be a love it or hate it thing for everyone. You're either going to walk in this house and you're going to love it, or you're going to walk in the house and be like, what was she thinking? Yeah. But the big thing is I like to show, all the different styles that we can do, but I like to just try out new things. And sometimes you're going to like make a mistake. Yeah. So, but it's nice to be able to try them out without any stress here. Like, I keep telling people, like, my one mistake is we did that dry bar in the office. And I was like, I would need my coffee pot in there.
I love that, personally.
I'm going to put a pot filler in there to fill my coffee pot. And then after it got installed, someone goes, well, why wouldn't you just put a sink? Because where are you going to wash your coffee cups? And I was like, you're right. But the pot filler looks cool.
It does. It looks real good.
Everyone's walking in, they're like, why is there a pot filler? So I had to like put a coffee pot in there and put the pot filler like over the coffee pot. So, but I mean, it's just, you realize those things after you do them. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll for sure do a wet bar in a office
like y'all
again.
know that, and we'll try that on the next one.
Yes, exactly. So
that's cool.
That is really sweet though. I mean, I still like, I'm a fan of the
it's like, I'll bring the coffee cup in later, because it's like you might get so delved into a project, like I don't have, it'll sit in there, but I got coffee. Like that's why I would love it.
If you're like me, I use the same coffee cup, so it's like,
it's just
why wash it out?
But I mean,
just put it in there.
Like theoretically, you could fill up the coffee pot with the sink spout.
Look, see,
that's true.
Let's get crazy.
So
that's
it's
true.
Like, I'll admit it's my mistake, but it sounded. It seemed like the best idea of all time when I put it on there, and even my plumber was like, "Why do you have a pot filler in the closet?" And I was like, "Just don't worry about it. It's gonna be really cool."
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably like you could have probably. So we could blame your plumber.
I will say,
too.
Mitch, my plumber, was probably like, I bet you, knowing him, he was probably like, "Why don't you just do a sink?" And I'm like, "No, this would be way cooler."
It's like people have
sinks
over.
Like I can do a sink.
Yeah.
I think he might have actually even like plumbed a drain in there in case someone wanted to do a sink in the future.
See,
but pot filler.
Yeah, hey, pot filler. I like the pot filler though because it's that
I'm loving
gold
it.
too. It's like
Yeah.
it really blends. It like it's
does.
a really good look.
So like when you get your ideas and things like that, is there a process for that? Like, do you kind of just look around at other people's design, or is there like specific things that really motivate you in design?
So I'm
comes to that?
constantly looking at Pinterest just in general, not necessarily saving anything, but just kind of going through it and like mentally noting like, oh, I liked that. I liked that. I like to try to design in a certain style. So we wanted this one to be a little bit more Art Deco, kind of more of an updated Art Deco look. So what I first honed in on was like a certain pattern, like a wallpaper pattern that I was like, oh, I love that. And it was like green. And I ended up not even putting that wallpaper here anywhere. But I was like, okay, I like the curve on the top. So I need to do some things with curves. I need to do this. And then as I was looking at that, I was like, oh, this is turning out very Art Deco. And so we just kind of leaned into that.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's easy to design for a fake person. And with basically like most of the people, you have unlimited budget. Like that is easy.
What do you use to design? Like, is that, I don't want to ask like too many questions. Do you use like a computer software specifically to design first, like Adobe or something, or what do you typically?
We use to do the floor plans themselves, you know, and like I said, another company did the floor plans for this, but we use Revit, which is a computer automated drafting program.
Cool.
And then for me on my side, picking out stuff, I just need to kind of visualize digital images together. So we'll put something together on Adobe just to see like the full design board. Mm-hmm. I have a benefit of doing so many houses that like I've seen most of these things together. So I instantly kind of know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then I do pick out like my flooring and all of that stuff in person at Carpet One. And I'll just go and lay it all out and, you know, look at a few paint colors with it to make sure I like it. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, the real question is when you build your house, what is the like 3 key things that you would want to have? Obviously the laundry in the closet. Mm-hmm. What's 2 other things?
So I love like the butler's pantry, like that little hidden kitchen. I love that because I just like when you have people over, what stresses me out so much when I have people over is I'm constantly up cleaning. Mm-hmm. Like trying to I want people to think I have my crap together. Yeah.
We all don't. None of us do.
Yeah,
so it's
I don't.
I tend to do that too.
Like, you know, I want them to think I'm like, you know, little Betty Homemaker or whatever, but I'm not. But a butler's pantry, if you could just shove all your dirty dishes in there and like all the mess there and just shut the door and make sure no one goes in there, everyone's going to think you have a crap together. They don't even know you have that space.
Yeah. Right.
So that's number 2. And then I'm trying to think what. For me personally, I have to have, because of kids, like a secondary living space. So this house is a slab home, so it doesn't. But this is kind of created maybe for someone more aging in place, downsizing. So they probably don't have young kids. But me personally, I have to have that secondary space for my kids. Actually, more than that, I have to have a toy room.
Yeah.
Like at my house now we have a loft and it's where all my kids' stuff goes. And like that room can be a total disaster and the rest of my house can be clean. And I clean that maybe once a month. Maybe.
Yeah, that's big for us too. I was gonna ask you slab or not, because I feel like I've talked to some family members and stuff, and like obviously I've always told you when we build our house, you're gonna have the design and everything. But a lot of them were like, I was like, man, I want a basement. I just want to build a basement and then put like a mobile home type over the top of the basement, because some of these mobile homes are nice nowadays. Like,
it's like a prefab house, right? It's not technically like a mobile home, right? It's a prefab house.
Yeah. And I was like, I just want to put that over the basement, put it over a basement. And like some of my family was like, I don't even want a basement. And I'm like, but tornadoes and all this, and you have another space and like all that stuff.
Okay, how long have you lived in Topeka?
Exactly.
I literally grew up in Kansas my whole life. The one time in my life that I saw a tornado was in June when it was hit Rossville and was coming this way, right? Of course, I was stuck on 75 watching it come in. I'm like, am I going to make it? Like That is the only time I've ever even seen a tornado in real life, and I'm 38 years old, and I've lived in Kansas my whole life. So I think the biggest thing is we do different levels of safe rooms. So I think just for people's,
that's important.
to feel
Yeah.
safer, having some sort of safe space designated. But we have a lot of people that don't even do that because they're like, I've been here 50 years. I've never even had one come close.
Yeah.
So
and see that's the thing. That's what a lot of my family were saying. They're like, why even do that? Just get like a little safe room. Like they have like a closet area.
Yeah, you can build it
know?
in a closet. It can be just reinforced, 2x6 walls, or it could be like an actual concrete safe room, or you can buy like Southwind Safe Room in Topeka. You can buy like a 4-person safe room to install in your garage. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's FEMA rated. The bad thing about doing a safe room in your garage or your pantry, to make it like FEMA rated, you have to have a steel door.
Oh,
so
goodness.
Who is wanting to open like a steel door?
200-pound door.
Yes. And so then most people are like, well, I don't want to do that. I'll keep the concrete walls, but let's just do like an exterior door. I'm like, so we're calling this a safer room. It's like not FEMA rated.
Yeah.
So that's
just,
like the bad thing about that.
Right.
So me personally, I would do like a 4-person one from Southwinds.
Or what about just like a storm shelter out in like the underground old
you
school?
could do that. Or
is that
get
not
to know
the
your neighbors. Like half these people have basements.
Right. I mean,
I'm
that's
literally running
right.
over to your house.
It's
If
like,
you're not there, I'm like breaking in the basement if it's coming my way.
Yeah. No, that's
Heck
smart though. That is smart.
That is,
Yeah.
I would, I would, and I come from Texas too, so like slab. I mean, there's no basements in Texas.
Yeah.
Like the foundation, like you good luck. Like
Right,
you build a basement, that foundation's crumbling.
Well, same thing.
Easily.
Oklahoma, and Oklahoma gets a lot of
That's
tornadoes,
Tornado
but it's
Alley,
like the clay and stuff like that. They can't have
Yep.
basements.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, so you're talking about building a house. Like, so your route sounds like you're staying here. You're staying here in Topeka. Okay, that's awesome.
I'm not building a house.
Okay.
No, she's not.
I live I just bought up north a really great house. We got a really, really good deal on it, and it's on property. And, maybe eventually I will build, but like we love our spot.
Oh, yeah,
It was
cool.
so well constructed back in the 90s. It's like, it would be very difficult to build that house again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was just wondering. So
Yep.
I know like he was mentioning that, but like that's for maybe like future.
Yeah.
Cool. Like,
There's some years ahead of you too, still. So whenever you make the next big leap.
It's so easy for me to make decisions for other people. I would be a nightmare client.
I was gonna ask that. Like that's where I was going with that.
I'd
Like
be so stressed out. I could not make a decision. Like
there's too much you could do. It's like
it took
it's
me
overwhelming.
like a year to pick out what tile I want to replace in my kitchen on the floor and the backsplash. I'm like, I still can't decide if I want to paint my fireplace black or leave it brick. I've been there for 3 years. So like I would have a really hard time making a decision for myself because it's very personal. But when it's not personal, it's a lot easier because you can look at all the pieces separately and put them together. Whereas if it's your own home, you're just focused on the piece as an individual instead of the whole puzzle, I guess.
And you don't have like a deadline when you're looking at your own project too. So you just have time to just like continue to think about it. So I'm sure that gets tough.
Yeah, I'm still very sad that you moved away from.
I know, we used to live so close.
I know, literally when she would I would train in the garage, and she would, which I don't recommend it, but you would sometimes walk over for 5 a.m. trainings, and I was like, I mean, we lived in a good neighborhood, but I was just like, Brandi, you're stressing me out here.
Like she's
it's still
dedicated.
dark outside. Yeah,
she's
like
dedicated.
It's still dark.
It was
out.
literally like 2 blocks in Collins Park. Like I was not, and there was always people out running at that
There
time.
were. Yeah. It's a very active neighborhood.
I love
sure.
that place. Yeah, it's beautiful around there.
Yeah, we love that neighborhood. It's such a that's the thing that's hard about us is like because we have Hezzy. He's 4.
Yeah.
Like trying to move away, like in the park's right there. So and then we're right in between Collins Park and Washburn Park.
Yeah.
So we can go either direction, and we're right at a new park. Yeah. So it's hard, but it's a good.
And you're not very far from Boswell Park. You're not very far from, like what. Westboro has a great new park there too.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's
like
new.
you can go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great walking distance from everywhere. So a good area to raise your kid. Kind of as do you have any like more questions or anything?
I mean, I'm just enjoying sitting in this beautiful house, listening to. I think you pretty much like. It's just good to know that we got some great like people here.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, and to know that like you're really putting love behind what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's what like I hear all that, like it's stressful decisions and this and that. That's all like you care a lot, and it shows in the design. Like it really comes out like this is beautiful. So Keep working hard.
Well, that's what I always hope
That's awesome.
comes across when I work with someone is that I understand this is probably the biggest financial thing you've done in your life. I mean, we have some people that are downsizing, it's not, but for most people, this is the biggest decision you've done in your life.
Yeah.
So I think it just, taking care and time to make sure someone understands, I'm here not just to put together a good design for you. I'm here to protect your investment. If you want to put in green carpet in all your bedrooms, I will let you. But I'm going to explain to you, hey, as an investment, I probably want to do that. Yeah. So, if I have anyone that's telling me, oh, we want to live here for 5 years and then we'll probably do a bigger house or downsize, whatever. I'm just okay, well then let's think about how this house shows in 5 years and stuff. So not just protecting an investment from that standpoint, but I'm not upselling you the most expensive flooring when I know there's something that performs better, looks better, and is less expensive. Yeah. So, I think everyone on our team is very aware that it's, a huge purchase for someone. And we really try to take care of them like family, like we would any of our family members.
Cool. That's I love that.
Yeah. As we kind of close out, not just yet, but I got one more question. You don't have to say any names or anything, but is there a nightmare client that you've ever ran across, where it's just they just didn't, when you're trying to talk about don't put green carpet in your floor. Is there a memory or anything like that kind of rings a bell where you're that was hard to do?
I mean, sometimes when you're working with someone, it feels like they're a nightmare client in the moment. Yeah. But, kind of looking back, it's my child labor, it seemed like it was horrible at the time. And but 2 years later, I'm maybe it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I would say a lot of times people will make a decision and they will be so excited about it. And they're yes, it's exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. But because they came to that decision too quickly, a month, 2 months down the road, they start second guessing, I didn't see everything. Should I come back in and see everything again? It's yeah, you want me to show you the 12,000 different tiles they have at Carpet One? I'm happy to spend the time in doing that. But almost always when that happens, we go through and we have 2 or 3 more meetings, changing things back and forth. Almost 95% of the time, they end up with the exact same thing that we started with.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you kind of got to feel that out, though.
You do. I want everyone to feel really good about their decision. But anyone that's building homes, most of the time, what you pick out first, what you're most excited about, that is truly what you want. You can him and haw and make, take the time to make sure you feel comfortable in that decision, but never feel weird about going back to that original choice because you initially got so excited about that for a reason.
Yep.
So
that's awesome. Sense, That's awesome. All right. Now the last question. What's your favorite memory or favorite thing about Topeka?
My favorite memory, my favorite thing about Topeka. I think probably I'm not saying this just to say something nice about my husband.
There we go.
There you go. Brownie points. Here we go.
So my favorite memory about Topeka is when I very first met my husband. We were playing at state games softball. Mm-hmm. And I was playing with a friend that I played with in Gardner. She was from Topeka. And so I remember when we first showed up for the softball tournament, Donnie overslept. And so he missed the first game. And I was like, who's this guy that I drove an hour and I got here on time? Who's this guy that can't even get here in a 10-minute drive on time? Yeah. And then we started talking and getting along or whatever. And I jokingly swung a bag of ice at him and split his eyebrow open.
Oh my gosh.
I made a great impression because he told my friend that night after I split his eyebrow open that he was going to marry me.
Wow.
But that's my favorite moment just because it was when I met my husband, but it's also when I met all of my best friends that I have now because a lot of them were on that team too. So
yeah.
You still playing softball?
Well, not.
Well, I mean, not at the moment, but like,
Up until this
moment.
are you going to be playing again once you cool?
Oh, yeah.
Softball.
Up until I tore my ACL, I was playing softball and volleyball and bowling. Now all of those are gone for a little while.
You'll be back though.
Yeah.
You'll be back. I love softball. I might end up trying to get.
We
on
need to get on the league.
Yeah.
or something.
You guys should. You really should get on a slow pitch team because it is
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
not doing no
dying.
fast pitch.
It's like a
I'm good on
dying
that one.
sport. Like
is.
every year, there's less and less teams that sign up, and Topeka has like a really great rec program too, like for kids rec and adult rec, and I don't know why. It's like less and less teams every single year. And it's like the age of the people that are doing it. Oh, yeah. Like the women's volleyball on Monday nights, it's like the 40 and over crowd for the most part. Like I'm one of the youngest ones out there. And we're always like, get your friends that are young to come.
Yeah.
Get some new teams.
We might have to get some IFT teams rolling.
Hey, man, we can get some IFT. Hey, listen.
Hold on. You might,
we can get an IFT
get some
softball,
events going.
some volleyball.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. I'll start going to the batting cage, just get my swing back.
Heck yes, you should.
Yeah. Well, thank you again,
Yes,
Brandi.
thanks for having me.
Yes, it was
awesome.
amazing. Yeah. Where can they follow you, or like how to get in contact with you if someone's like, hey, I want to build a house. I want her to, design like my interior with everything. How can they get in contact with you?
So if you go to drippehomes.com and under information about us, it has everyone listed with my email for me.
Cool.
And then if you just want to inquire about Drippe Homes, you can go on there and fill out, an inquiry form or just info@Drippe Homes. Yeah.
Let's go. And ask for the Ava plan, because that's what I'm going to be asking
Ava
for.
plan is this
Seriously,
one.
hey,
Yes.
she did some serious
And
work
we have
on this
most
place.
of our floor plans on our website. This one, I'm not sure if it's on there yet, but it will end up being on there.
Nice. Well, y'all heard it here first. Make sure that y'all follow, like, subscribe, share, comment who we should have on the podcast next, and hit that bell notification so you never miss a I'm from Topeka podcast
Don't miss
episode. We'll see y'all next time. Peace and
Much love.
Bye.
If you from my city, say it with me. Throw them T's way up in the sky. From the north, south, west to the east side. Topcity. I love Topeka, baby.